I'm reading from Answer to Job by C.G. Jung, paragraph 579. The book of Job places this pious and faithful man, so heavily afflicted by the Lord, on a brightly lit stage where he presents his case to the eyes and ears of the world. It is amazing to see how easily Yahweh, quite without reason, had let himself be influenced by one of his sons, by a doubting thought, and made unsure of Job's faithfulness. With this touchiness and suspiciousness, the mere possibility of doubt was enough to infuriate him and reduce that peculiar double-faced behavior of which he had already given proof in the Garden of Eden when he pointed out the tree to the first parents, and at the same time forbade them to eat of it. In this way, he precipitated the fall, which he apparently never intended. Similarly, his faithful servant Job is now to be exposed to a rigorous moral test, quite gratuitously and to no purpose, although Yahweh is convinced of Job's faithfulness and constancy, and could, moreover, have assured himself beyond all doubts on this point had he had taken counsel with his own omniscience. Why, then, is the experiment made at all, and a bet with the unscrupulous slanderer settled without a stake on the back of a powerless creature? It is indeed no edifying spectacle to see how quickly Yahweh abandons his faithful servant to the evil spirit and lets him fall without compunction and pity into the abyss of physical and moral suffering. From the human point of view, Yahweh's behavior is so revolting that one has to ask oneself whether there is not a deeper motive hidden behind it. Has Yahweh some secret resistance against Job? That would explain his yielding to Satan. But what does man possess that God does not have? Because of his littleness, puniness, and defenselessness against the Almighty, he possesses, as we have already suggested, a somewhat keener consciousness based on self-reflection. He must, in order to survive, always be mindful of his impotence. God has no need of this circumspection, for nowhere does he come up against an insuperable obstacle that would force him to hesitate and hence make him reflect on himself. Could a suspicion have grown up in God that man possesses an infinitely small, yet more concentrated, light than he? Could a suspicion have grown up in God that man possesses an infinitely small, yet more concentrated, light than he, Yahweh, possesses? Footnote 3. Satan is presumably one of God's eyes, which go to and fro in the earth and walk up and down in it. Job 1:7. In Persian tradition, Abriman proceeded from one of Ormuzd's doubting thoughts. A jealousy of that kind might perhaps explain his behavior. It would be quite explicable if some dim, barely understood deviation from the definition of a mere creature had aroused his divine suspicions. Too often already these human beings had not behaved in the prescribed manner. Even this trusty servant, Job, might have something up his sleeve. Hence, Yahweh's surprising readiness to listen to Satan's insinuations against his better judgment.